Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lupin the Third franchise. I'm your host, Donald Wonder, and I'm back to continue the retrospective for the beloved anime and manga franchise, still going strong, still celebrating its 50+ year in anime and manga. Here we go again. As most of you already know, I've already covered the 30+ movies, TV specials, every TV series prior to this one. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a link in the top right hand corner of the card. We've also got the website, Lupin the Third retrospective website, which is separate, so you can go there as well. We're the Lupin Kings. We love being part of the Lupin community. There's a lot of people speaking about Lupin the Third, especially now it's having a second wind with another series we're going to be talking about. And now it's 2018. Well, actually, it's near the end of 2018, and I want this review out before the end of the year. Another celebration. Lupin has jumped from Italy to France, and that's where we're here. So without further ado, let's talk about 2018's Lupin the Third Part 5, subtitled Adventures in France. There again, after the last series, there was a lot of hype for this one. I wasn't that happy with the last part. It wasn't terrible, but it was very mediocre. That was the 50th year celebration specifically, but now we're a year later, a year and a half later. We got a new series here, but it's in France, you know, part of Lupin's heritage. So I was very excited about this one, but I was my expectations were tempered, and honestly I can say I was actually quite satisfied with this. This was a return to form. I feel like, you know, they learned a lot from the last series on what they need to do to actually bring the strengths of the Lupin franchise, the characters, the story, how they can bring the strength in another series, and I actually think they did it really well here as well. So let's start with the animation. Now, I would say the animation style hasn't changed much since part 4, the Italiano series, but I feel like the backgrounds are possibly even more detailed than last time. The backgrounds really stood out to me for some reason. I really think it's beautiful. France is beautiful. A lot of the things going on is beautiful. I didn't think the character designs were that much better. I actually think they even looked a little bit more plain than last time, especially against the backgrounds. They didn't 100% mesh for me. I feel like I'm nitpicking a little bit, but the backgrounds are so beautiful. The actual forward character designs and animation, they're not that much different from the last part, but I just felt like they weren't as great as the backgrounds, but it was still good. It was still good. Starting with the opening credits, the first thing you see when you watch Lupin the Third. Now, these opening credits are a lot more playful, a lot more Saturday morning cartoony and goofy. But to be honest with you, even though I don't really like goofy Lupin the Third, I think this opening lends itself to the playfulness and fun spirit of the show, and it's very tongue-in-cheek. It's even more cartoony than I was expecting, but it's really fun going into space in the car chasing them, and it's just really fun. And the music goes hand in hand with that French twang. So the opening is fun. It's just fun. They didn't change it. It's just one opening for the whole 24 episodes, and I liked it. Now the ending theme, ooh la la, this was wonderful, dazzling, and perfectly plays homage to the woman named Fujiko Mine. It actually reminds me of the series, my favorite Lupin series, The Woman Named Fujiko Mine. It's all about Fujiko, more artistic, dazzling. Lupin's eyes are glowing with the cards there. My eyes are glowing, and the song, beautiful. Everything about it is just, what a great choice. Beautifully sung as well. Animations just stand out. To be honest with you, I wish the anime series was a little bit more experimental with the animation, like this ending theme, but you know, it's just great. So moving on to probably the most important thing, how does the animation fare when it comes to the action, the movement, the whole CGI, everything to do with the motion? I think I was thoroughly impressed with the animation through and through, especially when it came to the dynamic movements of car chases, when it came to the heists. I think it looks colorful. I think it was very action-packed, actually. I was actually surprised how action-packed it was, and I was even more impressed that the action, the slanted a little bit more towards seinen than shonen. It's actually violent. Now, these are guys dealing with heists and criminals and murder and, you know, thievery. So I was actually impressed that in previous series, sometimes it's very bloodless and the action kinds to vary from series to series. But just like the last series, this one, actually, I think this series is actually more violent. And when I mean more violent, they don't shy away from the murder, and it's animated really well. People getting shot in the face. Lupin gets sliced, stabbed, shot a few times, which is really good. And they don't shy away from it in the animation. And honestly, the animation's fluid, car chases, everything. Every time an action scene went off, it was just animated really well, really engaging. Overall, I'm really happy with the animation, especially as I said before, the background designs are really, really, really good. So yeah, the animation is exactly what it should be, and I was just thoroughly satisfied with the animation. Moving on to the sound next. Well, the sound, I watched the original Japanese language, dialogue with the subs. Fine, I love, I don't mind it. I'm a sub guy anyway. I do think, I've said this many times before, because Lupin's like a more of a European thievery kind of show, even though it's a Japanese show at heart. I do feel like the English dub lends better as a native English speaker, that's me. But saying all that, Japanese dub's fine. The voice casts are fine. I've commented on the voice cast in every single review. They changed a lot of the characters, the voice actors a couple of years back, and they're still here, still doing great. Lupin sounds funny. Fujiko's great. Jigen and Goemon are great. Zenigata's, it's all good. Even the new characters, nothing to complain about with the voice actors. Now, the music and the soundtrack is pretty good. Now, one of the standout themes for Lupin the Third throughout its whole franchise is the soundtrack, which is, I believe it's Yuji Ono that usually does it. But this time, I didn't even check, to be honest with you, because the music is very understated. And a lot of the music is the same themes we're used to. Lupin the Third opening theme, the Fujiko Mine love theme, which is redone. But it's all got a French twang and it's very understated. So I really liked it. Again, the ending theme for the episodes, with the Fujiko ending theme was really great. I loved it. And, there was a few interpretations of what we loved, the opening theme, the Fujiko's theme, but nothing that really blew me away. But again, the music in Lupin the Third's always good. It just didn't blow me away this time. It just did what it had to do. I thought it was great, to be honest with you, in the most general sense. It didn't really have to reinvent the wheel. And I guess finally, that brings me to the story and the characters regarding the series. Now, on a whole, by the end of the story, I felt like it was a love letter to the franchise, which is probably what the last series should have been, since that was the 50th anniversary. But it was refreshing. It was fun. And the thing I liked the most about it, and this is just me being a long-time Lupin the Third fan, watching over 100+ hours of Lupin the Third content, this series isn't goofy. I actually don't like it when Lupin the Third is super cartoony. This is what criminals and thieves should be dealing with. And not saying it's not jovial and fun and silly, it's all of that. But it just felt more realistic. Again, when the action scenes are going off, it's popping off. People are dying. Jigen and Lupin kill a lot of people in the more blasé, more frank about what they're doing. And I believe them because these guys are older. Now, I think one of the story plots they wanted to make relevant is the relevance of using our current world of technology and social media and our so-called surveillance state. And I think the series poses a question: how would Lupin the Third, the greatest thief in the whole world, succeed in the world as it is today? There is one, I guess that's the overarching theme: technology and Lupin as a thief and how he can survive in this world. Because the episodes are kind of shot in parts, they tackle it more in the first 5 episodes and the last 5. In the middle, they kind of go all over the place, which is fine. And it was a good choice. I think it made sense. It made it more intriguing. It was fun to see that Lupin, he is the master of everything, but they brought in a new character, a new female character, who's the technologically advanced character to help Lupin the Third. And to be honest with you, this character, Amy, is a breath of fresh air. Usually the female characters in the Lupin franchise are just one note, damsels in distress. This character has a lot of depth. Actually, of everything I've seen in the Lupin franchise, she's probably one of the most well-developed characters, new characters I've seen in the whole franchise. And I really, really liked her. Those first 5 episodes with her really kicked it off, and her character developed. By the end, I felt like I got a payoff. And by the end, I thought she could have made a really good addition to the Lupin the Third team. It wouldn't have surprised me if they went that way, but after a 50-year franchise, I don't think they're going to add anything to the mold as of yet. It's not like One Piece where you add a new character every couple of episodes. So yeah, man. So speaking about the episodes, again, they decided to break the series in chunks, which I think is a good idea, because episodic Lupin doesn't work for me. One episode on one heist, those were the goofy days. This is a better idea. Do 5-episode chunks, focus on the story, and it does that a couple of times. There's 4 parts in here. You get chunks of little stories, and then you do get sprinkled I don't want to call them throwaway episodes, but you get a lot of one episodic episodes, but they're all fun. The series goes back into Lupin's past. You see things where he's wearing different jackets, a lot of fan service, but not in an egregious way, in a loving way, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the series on the whole. On the last series, AANNND Adventure, I didn't like the episodes they had there, the single episodes, except for that one where Lupin got caught by Zenigata. This one, I pretty much liked all of them. I think there was one episode where Lupin and they were all stuck in a room about a toilet. That was probably the most meh episode, but they tried to make some character development between Lupin and Fujiko that I didn't mind. So yeah, I think they had the right idea. Lupin the Third works better. I would have preferred it if the whole series was just like 5 episodes of a story. They kind of did that this time. They just broke it apart with a couple of episodes, but I'm not really complaining. It really works for me. I really enjoyed how they executed the story in the end, and the first 5 in particular. The series started strong. I thought it was a very, very strong start. Then it kind of, I don't want to say meandered, but it was okay in the middle, and at the end, kind of wrapped back around, bringing back the technology idea. I thought the ending was okay. It was good enough. It wasn't as good as the first start, but taking the story on a whole, I liked it, man. I think this is what the other series, AANNND Adventure, should have been, to be perfectly honest with you, because the characters are very pensive. If you've been watching the series for a long time, like myself, then I think you're going to get a better payoff with the series, for the simple fact these characters are questioning what they're doing, who they are, like they've never done before. If you're watching Lupin the Third for the first time, it might seem a bit out of place, or it just might be I think you enjoy it more waiting because I think a lot of fans have been waiting for Lupin to ask these questions. Lupin and Fujiko, what are they really about? They really hash it out this time, and I really appreciate that. 50 years down the line, I'm glad they finally addressed it. To be honest with you, at the last, no spoilers, but at the very end, there's a part where the characters even stop and basically have a discussion on why they're continuing the Lupin franchise. It's very self-aware, but I actually appreciated it. And, you know, the characters are good. Lupin, Zenigata, Fujiko. Again, there's more character development with them than ever before. Lupin and Fujiko in particular. Goemon has a moment with Lupin that I personally have always complained about. If you go back to my first discussion on the Lupin the Third Part 1 series, I always questioned Goemon's role in this team. It didn't make sense to me. These guys in this series went above and beyond, where they even brought flashbacks to Part 1 in this to actually, it's like they heard what I said. The complaint I had about Goemon, they addressed it in the end so thoroughly that I was like, this is such a payoff for long-time Lupin the Third fans. And that's what I came away with. Now, in saying all that, I didn't adore the series because it didn't really break the mold. It did a lot of what Lupin the Third always does, just a lot better, you know? I've always said, you know, the Fujiko Mine TV series is my personal favorite because it's experimental. They tackle something different. They kind of push it a little bit. This one is a little bit more safe, but it's fun. They're having fun. It's not too goofy. They are serious. And if you're a first-time watcher, this would be a great introduction to the character and a kind of a show of his greatest hits. That's what this is. And that's great. To me, honestly, that's all it really needs to be. So with all that said, I would give Lupin the Third Part 5 a solid B+. I really enjoyed it. Didn't break the mold, but this is a step in the right direction. It's definitely a step above what I saw, which to me, again, the AANNND series was a bit disappointing. This was a homage to the series. This was the characters being older, being pensive, had a great mix of contained little sagas and then mini episodes that are red jacket, green jacket, all of that stuff. And by the end, when I was watching the characters run away, it made me feel warm as a fan of Lupin the Third. I thought, hey man, that was really great. So definitely a solid B+ for me. So looking at the review sites, Anime, My Anime List, IMDb, and YouTube, what everyone's saying, this is one of the most fondly received series I've ever seen. And yeah, it's my second favorite Lupin the Third TV series, without a doubt. I can't wait to rewatch this again in English. Lupin the Third is something you could definitely rewatch quite easily. And to be honest with you, the takeaway I just want from them is to focus more on mini stories, you know, mini compelling stories, just like the first 5 episodes were. Do more of that. Episodic ones, leave that for the specials. And again, apparently we're going to get a TV movie special in 2019 anyway. So this was a kind of a return to form. I know a lot of people like the Italiano series anyway. I was one of the picky ones, but this is a much better return to form. And that's basically it. That was a long ass ramble, wasn't it? Lupin the Third, Part 5, really good, pays homage. Can't wait to watch it again in the English dub. Now, I want to know what you guys think of this series. What did you think? Most people already love it, like I said, but I want to know what you think. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. And if this is your first time checking out my review for Lupin the Third franchise, as I said in the beginning, you can go back to the archive of nearly, 50 videos I've got talking about every single Lupin the Third movie animated release. It was long, it was kind of fun, and I love being a kind of an expert on such an amazing anime manga character. And looking at the future of Lupin the Third, again, they've got that special apparently coming up next year. Universal Studios Japan are celebrating Lupin the Third as well, and I'm glad to hear it, man. It's a great franchise. I can't wait to see it do more. Just please guys, keep it semi-serious. Keep it, you know, keep doing this. Don't go down the goofy route, please. Just keep it like this. And guys, let me get the hell out of it, guys. Thanks for checking out our video on Lupin the Third franchise. If you want to hear more from me, I'm going to plug the podcast that we've been doing, Voice of Male podcast. We talk about everything: movies, television shows, anime, politics, news, pop culture in general. Check out the podcast if you want to hear more from me. But, you know, guys, thanks for following us in general on this journey. And obviously, you'll see me back on the next Lupin the Third release. Until then, I'll say good evening, good afternoon, good night. See you later. Peace out.